The Bouncer.
Aloha everybody and welcome back to The Bouncer. So we finished up the story mode. We saw the epic tale of Sion Barzad saving his girlfriend Dominique from the Mikado Corporation. But one thing we haven't checked out is the versus mode. And honestly, this might be a big selling point for The Bouncer because not only do you have this single player story mode beat 'em up game, but you also have a fighting game in this thing, where you and 3 of your friends can engage in battles with the 3 playable bouncer characters, as well as all of the boss antagonists. There's a lot of playable characters in this thing. You can set the fighter characters to be AI-controlled computer opponents. You could set there to be 1 round, 2 rounds, 5 rounds if you so desire. You can make the entire thing computer-operated, and that's what I'm going to be doing for this video. But we got the 3 bouncers, Sion, Volt, Ko. We got Echidna. We got 4 different versions of Duragon. Leanne, Ko's secret agent buddy. Juan, Kaldea, Dominique, PD4, and 2 versions of Mugetsu. One where he's slightly less crazy, and one where he's even more crazy. But, figured I'd have the first match between our bouncers, and let's have a triple threat fight between the bouncers. Because you can have like a one-on-one kind of fight, you can have triple threat fights, you can have fatal 4-way type fights, and we have 11 stages that you can choose from here in the Bouncer, many of which were in the single-player story campaign. So let's have the bouncers fight in the Fate Bar, why not? And yes, there are alternate costumes in the multiplayer as well. Whenever you're highlighting on a character's portrait, like I go to Sion, and then I push L1, you'll notice that the background color behind the character's head will actually change whenever you hold one of the shoulder buttons. So, like, it's red at first, but then I hold L1, and then it's white behind Sion's head. And that tells you that, okay, that's going to be the white color. That's going to be the white t-shirt Kaldea flashback version of Sion. When he was all young and so innocent, and he wasn't such an edgelord trying to kill himself. But, yeah, every character, mostly every character, there are some boss characters who don't, but mostly everyone has an alternate costume, which is pretty great. So you have young Sion, we have Volt when he was with the Mikado Corporation, so he doesn't have any piercings, he doesn't have those horns on his head, he's just wearing a suit, and he just looks like a bodyguard would, because he was a bodyguard of Master Mikado back in the day. Ko's alternate costume is just him being shirtless, really. White leather pants, and he's shirtless, and that's pretty much it. But, yeah. I will say the one thing that kind of sucks about multiplayer fighting is that I don't really know if there's any way to, like, target specific opponents other than, like, walking up to them and hoping that the game automatically switches your focus to the person that you're coming up to. Because I don't know of any target switching capabilities, and when you get into like 4-player fights, or especially like the 6-man team battles that I'll be showing off later, man, does it get crowded, and man, sometimes you want to hit one person and you just can't, and it's like, ugh, but either way.
Yeah! That was the White Cyclone!
That was close.
Good job, Sion. Of course you won. You're the main character. I wasn't shocked at all. But, Echidna's alternate costume, again, very similar to Volt, because she was also one of the Secret Service bodyguards for Master Mikado, so she has a suit outfit as well. Mugetsu does not have an alternate costume, so I just put him in some alternate blue colors. Even the colors that aren't alternate, and the ones that are, have, like, different colors. So, like, I could have Volt in a white suit. I could have Volt with a brown leather jacket. I could have Sion in a blue hoodie as opposed to his red hoodie that he usually has. Just experiment with the shoulder buttons, see what color shows up behind a character's head, and generally when you select that character, they'll have whatever color was behind them. And yeah. But again, the great thing about the multiplayer is that you actually get to play around with and experiment with all of the boss characters, and they basically have all of the same features that they did when you were fighting them in the story mode. Kaldea, for example, still transforms into a Black Panther whenever you choose. So you have like 2 different fighting modes with her. You can be a human and fight as Kaldea, or you can push L1 and then push X to transform into the Panther. And admittedly, the Panther's not great to transform into with multiplayer, because it's like, it can't block. And when the Panther can't block, that means you're an easy target, an easy glutton for punishment, you know? So there's not much you can do when you're in your Panther form.
Next time you'll be dead.
Oh, calm down, Mugetsu. One of the arenas is in the top of the Mikado building, and I thought that, you know what, Duragon, he gave a really cheap shot to Juan. Juan wasn't really expecting to be attacked. Let's have an actual proper fight between these two, eh? Let's have a proper fight. Again, if you're just selecting the multiplayer video and you haven't watched my single-player campaign at all, my Let's Play of it, it should be mentioned that a lot of the characters are going to be locked off when you start up the Bouncer. I think you only have the 3 playable characters, Volt, Sion, and Ko. You have to go through the story mode in order to unlock everybody else, and there are certain characters who have unlocked stipulations where, like, you have to view a very certain ending of Sion's in order to unlock Juan. You have to beat the entire game as Ko in order to unlock Leanne. And you certainly have to see Duragon's 3rd and final form in the final boss fight in order to unlock shirtless Duragon, because that is absolutely a thing. But, so there's a lot of unlockable characters in the Bouncer, and you won't start off with the full roster right away. But once you have the full roster, it's a pretty substantial fighting game.
Not bad for a commoner.
Why'd you call him a commoner? He's a master fucking fighter, goddammit. So there's Kaldea turning into a Panther. Dominique, we actually never fought at all. We didn't play as her or fight against her in the story mode, so she actually has a pretty unique fighting style. She likes to do lots of flips and stuff, because, you know, she's a super fighting robot. Da-da-da-da! Dominique! It's amazing. Leanne's alternate costume is the same costume she was wearing in the opening cinematic when she was on her computer watching the news and stuff, so she's wearing this white robe. And Kaldea's, they put her in a bra and panties lingerie type setup because of course they did. I don't know. I didn't make this game. With a Fatal 4-Way type match, the characters are always going to be on screen. It's not like it ever goes off into split screen. So, depending on the arena, and there are big arenas, let me tell you. Like, if you go back to, like, the City Streets one, where I had Mugetsu and Echidna fight, if you have the 4 players split apart in that arena, holy crap, does the camera go back a long ways. So if you're having multiplayer fights with, like, more than 1 combatant, more than 2 combatants, I should say, you might want to pick a smaller arena so that it doesn't get too squinty, that you're not constantly going like, what's going on? I can't see what's happening, Jesus.
This is the last time.
The last time you'll see my ass. There's 4 versions of Duragon. I thought it'd be fun. Let's see which one's the best. One-armed Duragon, regular Duragon, overalls Duragon, or shirtless Duragon. Which one is truly the best Duragon, eh? But yeah, all the mechanics are still here. You know, you still use the exact same moves when you're playing a Sion, Volt, Ko. You still block, and when you block, you won't take any damage. There are still grabs and stuff you can do, and lots of special abilities, The good thing about the multiplayer characters is that you don't really have to unlock their abilities. It's not like you have to unlock Kaldea's ability to transform into a panther, or PD4's ability to whip people with his giant fucking robot whip arm, you know? So it's just good, you know? It's just a fun little multiplayer thing. And I imagine this probably got a lot of mileage with some people, because, shit. It's actually kind of fun to play, you know. Ooh! Overall's Duragon is the best.
Get out of my sight.
Permanently. So now we're in the team battles, and the team battles actually can only be played with 2 players. There are 6 people on screen right now, but it's not actually using 6 controllers or anything. You pick the leader character, and then your opponent picks their leader character, and you choose 2 characters to fight alongside them. And that's how that works. So there's actually 2 players playing right now, and the other 4, I should say, are AI controlled. And the rules of a team battle is if the leader is killed, their team loses. So Sion is the leader of the bouncers right now, and if Sion is killed, then his bouncer team just completely loses. Like, Ko and Volt don't need to be taken out, only Sion must be taken out for the game to end. So Ko and Volt could be totally full health, absolutely fine, but if they didn't get taken out, then you wouldn't know. It's not looking good for Sion. Oh!
Winner, PD4.
But yeah, I like to have team battles in smaller arenas like this just because it's easier to keep track of what's going on. Again, you put them in a big area and they just split apart so much that it's like, oh my god. But yeah, it's pretty fantastic, pretty fun, pretty neat, and I'm just curious in the comment sections if anyone has actually bought the Bouncer, and I know this game didn't sell that well, but if anyone actually bought the Bouncer, how much time did you actually spend in the multiplayer? Because I remember me and my friends played it quite a bit. We would actually just boot up the game just to fight each other in this mode, not even touching the story mode for a long time, because this was another fighting game for our PlayStation 2, kind of like Tekken and Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. Even though it's not that deep and there's not much to it, there are a lot of playable characters, there are a lot of arenas, and sometimes you just felt really lucky, or sometimes it just felt like it was just something to do, you know, it was something to do.
Winner, Sion Barzad.
I want to see some real action.
So that's the multiplayer of the Bouncer. Pretty fantastic, pretty neat. One of the best selling points of the game that a lot of people gloss over. And I think it's enjoyable. Come back next time, folks, for the last video of the Bouncer as I look at the survival mode.